Aloha. Hey, it's Julie Ziemelis, 365 Hawaii, and I'm with Real Broker, and I specialize in real estate in Kona. And I am here with Jana Mahoney, my real estate partner who works at Keller Williams, Big Island. And she is going to be bringing you guys some great information today. Jana, why don't you tell them what you're going to be talking about?
Okay, we're going to talk about statistics up in the Kohala area, which includes Waikoloa Resort, Waikoloa Village, Monolani, Mauna Kea, all the way up to Kohala Ranch. Okay. We also want to kind of cover some things that you need to know if you're looking for an investment property, some kind of tips and tricks and things to consider. And some trends that are happening right now as in sort of this area, what we're seeing right now, what we expect to see, and some realities about building up in the Kohala area, which you need to know going into it that it's not going to be short or easy.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. And if you guys have more questions for Jana about any of those, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. We'll make sure Jana gets a hold of you. And then we'll also put your contact information so people can call you directly as well. Jana, tell us a little bit about what you are seeing in the market in those areas.
Okay, so Waikoloa Village is about 5 miles up from Kohala Coast. Cute little neighborhood, cute little village where I happen to live. And we right now have 25 active listings in Waikoloa Village. The range is 529 to 1,990,000, but the median list price is 1,175,000. So Julie and I were just talking about that. Like it's still pretty high up here. However, the average days on market for those 25 active listings is 148 days. So we do have some inventory available, but it takes a little bit longer to move. In August, there were 8 homes that sold in Waikoloa Village, and the median list price for those houses that sold was only 902, so a little bit less. And the days on market was 35 days. So what this tells me is the ones that are priced fairly move quicker. So you've got 35 days on market for those houses, whereas the ones that are kind of sitting there have up to 148 days, right? So that's kind of telling you the story of what's going on.
Yeah.
And also, this is also very, very interesting in terms of pricing strategy. Sellers received about 97.3% of their original list price of the ones that sold. So there's still pretty strong demand up here.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if when I was discussing with what's happening in Kona, it was like down to like 92, 93%. So on the other side, when those houses, when they eventually try to sell those houses and they've been on the market for 100 and some odd days, it'll be interesting what that one looks like.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I think if you're a buyer, it's kind of with all that's going on with the inventory and all that's going on with the interest rates, I think it's like don't wait, don't wait, because the ones that are good deals are going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Waikoloa Village condos, totally different story. We've
Yeah.
got 26 active condos in Waikoloa Village, from 397 to 685. And the average days on market for these is 68. So let's see. Fairway Terrace has 5, Paniolo Club 2, Ilimilani 5, Waikoloa Hills 8, and Waikoloa Hills. Villas 2 and Makana Kai has 4. The average median list price is 485. So you've got a lot of active listings right now in Waikoloa Village and a lot of different condo complexes. One sold in August.
One.
Which is crazy. There was one in Waikoloa Village that sold in August, and it was 1,030,000. So it was
Nicer ones.
one of the nicer ones, right? Had a list price of 1,125,000. It sold for 1,030,000 in 13 days.
Yeah.
So that's
If I can make my thoughts on that, I have a client that was looking up there and she finally got under contract and she closes, I think, in like 2 weeks. For what they want for the rising prices of the HOA fees It doesn't match.
Right.
So, and since you and I started talking about this last month, I've heard at least two other complexes that have raised their HOA fees to the point where people are starting to say, I'm waiting for the prices to come down. So the woman that we got into contract, they had just lowered the price by $50,000. And that's why she jumped in. So I'm starting to think that there's going to be a breaking point up there at some point. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The condo, the HOA fees in the condos have just kind of so in Waikoloa Village, if you buy a condo, you have the condo HOA, but then you also have the Waikoloa Village HOA, which is like $90 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you buy a house, if you buy a condo, whatever, you have to pay the $90 to the Waikoloa Village HOA.
Mhm.
But if you buy a condo, you also have to pay the condo. So that's the one that's gone way up. The Waikoloa Village is really a pretty good deal because you get the discounted golf, you can take
The
free
pool.
yeah, free swim aerobics and have a lot of benefits for that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty reasonable, $90 a month, but it's the
Yeah.
condos
Yeah.
that are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
So
what about down in the Waikoloa, like let's buy a investment piece of property experience?
okay.
How's that
Oh,
fare?
in Waikoloa Resort,
Mhm.
which is just down the hill from us, right? Um, so the condos, let's start with the condos. Okay, here we go. 31 active listings from 875 to 3,975.
Mhm.
Median is 1,360,000.
Mhm.
Average days on market is 87. And by far the most you see is in Kolea, which is kind of the more expensive condo complex down there. Same thing. I'm sure you've got the same issues with the HOA, price, HOA increases. In August, there were 3 condos that were sold, and the median sold was 940. And let's see. Oh, this is interesting. The sales to original list price was 93.5.
Ooh, okay. So a softening market there as well.
Yep.
It would appear, however, that if you have rising HOA fees, that because tourists are paying to live there, that you would basically pass on the cost to
Right.
them.
Right.
Whereas the people who are actually working in Waikoloa Village don't have that opportunity. So
Absolutely. So all of those complexes that I just mentioned down in in the Waikoloa Resort do short-term vacation rentals, and there's a lot of short-term vacation rentals down there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
absolutely, that price is definitely going to be passed on, but it
yeah.
still has to be calculated into your, when you're looking to,
P&L.
yeah, is this gonna cash flow? You have to definitely look at HOA fees now.
Yeah, yeah. In fact,
Um,
uh, this whole episode's been about making sure that you know what you're getting yourself into in terms of looking at the CCNRs and what's happening with those rising assessments and HOA fees, so that when you get your pencil out to see if it pencils, that you're actually looking at correct numbers, right?
Yeah. I have a spreadsheet and I can pop it in there and we can say, what if it's 70% occupancy? What if
Oh,
it,
that's smart too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Because,
occupancy.
yeah, yeah, right. And then you also have it, and it also is kind of interesting to note, kind of we're going off on a sidetrack here, but different times of the year have different rates. So you're going to have the very highest rates around the holidays.
Hmm.
And so you should be close to 100% occupied around the holidays here
Yeah.
with highest rates. So, and then April and September are sort of the shoulder months where it's the lower rates.
It's time to
So
come and take advantage of your own vacation rental at that point.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like you want to book your time in your own place in September, not December,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Hey,
But
so
you can
since
mess
you kind of got you got the stage here, for people who are considering those kinds of condos and stuff like that, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you probably are kind of a consultant, right? On doing this for people, helping them understand, does it pencil? How does it really work? How do you get like the financials from the when what's happening already? I mean, you're pretty. I'd say that you are an expert. Would you say that?
I did short-term vacation rentals before I was a real estate agent. So yeah, I'm very familiar with everything that's up and down here. And also a lot of different management companies, so I know kind of questions to ask.
Yeah.
So when you go in, there's kind of a list of things that you need to talk about, and I cannot even tell you how much I would say how important it is to get multiple quotes. You need to talk to 2 or 3 different managers, because there's not always a correlation between what you pay and what you get in
Mm.
that area.
Oh, there you
So,
go. Oh, in terms of management fees, you mean?
right.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to hire a management company, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you also know, like again, like the times of the year that you're going to do this, and like how they
Right.
go about like surge pricing and the penciling and how to get all the stuff. I think that if you are an investor, live the ones I've dealt with, they kind of already have a pretty good feeling. But if people are trying to get into it, maybe for the first time or just don't understand Hawaii, I think having someone handhold you a little bit through that, so you just know if it was a good investment or not. Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know that you also deal with professional investors and sell $3 million condos up there too, Gianna. So, so there's your plug. Quickly, what's going on with the rest of that region?
Okay,
What are we seeing?
let's look at the Montalani condo, since we're kind of in that mode.
Okay.
Montalani Condos has 18 active listings, and they range from 1,235,000 to 3,195,000. So as you're going up the coast, you have Waikoloa Resort, and then you go up a little further north and you have Montalani. A little further north is Mauna Kea, and so they kind of get more pricey as you go north.
Mhm.
So
And also,
the
then you get to wrap in the amenities of being at the resort.
right, right. The resorts get nicer too. So the median list price at Montalani right now for all the condos is 1,525,000. Only one sold in August. So we're seeing, August and September kind of the
Yes.
slowest months anyway.
Yeah.
And it was one fairways for 1,200,000, and it had a list price of 1,296,000 with 88 days on the market. So
Hmm.
that's happening in Montalani too, um, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, and
um,
again, investors also are very cost conscious about what's going on with the general feeling around the Americas, and
right.
so maybe that's also part of the waiting till the election is over, waiting for the interest rates to drop. So it'll be interesting to see if you get a different thing that shows up, you know, November. So
Yeah, I think that's true. I also think though that if you wait until the interest rates have dropped, you're going to be competing with a lot more buyers. And I think a better strategy would be to buy and lock in your rate and then refinance. Because it's like, I know Joe does a thing where you can refinance for free within 2 years or something like that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we've seen this happen before, right? All of a sudden the interest rate becomes more favorable and everybody hits it
comes
again.
back in and the prices
Yeah.
go up. So
Right.
sometimes taking a
Right
leap
now
of
we have
faith.
more inventory than we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
But things are kind of slow. Like I said, like one condo sold in all of Montalani. That's crazy. Nothing sold in the residential area of Montalani, but of course, that's kind of pricey.
Yeah.
And well, let me say that in Waimea, and we kind of talked about that. There's 3 listings. Median list price is 2.7. Median sold last month was 1,680,000. Kohala. So Kohala area has not really no condos. It's a residential site. Kohala by the Sea, Kohala Ranch. And there are just 7 listings in all of those neighborhoods. Kohala Kai, Kohala Waterfront, Kohala by the Sea, and Kohala Ranch. There's just 7. And the median is about 2,500,000 in those. Days on market is 103. And it's like what? Kohala Ranch has 400 lots. There's only 7. That's just one of those. So there's not a lot of inventory still up there. That's a pretty desirable area, and it's just not much going on. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay, so for our friends at home, um, is this because of the time of year? Is it because of the interest rates and people pulling back? Is it because you think people are waiting until they can see favorable building conditions or, especially like in Colorado Ranch where a lot of those are open lots?
so
Uh,
there's no favorable building conditions at Kohala. If you bought a lot there, you can count on it taking a minimum of 2 years
Hmm.
to build there. And that is best case scenario, because you've got a pretty extensive permitting process because you have to get it approved by Kohala Ranch first and then go to the county of Hawaii, and then find a builder that can work you in. And then, it's just takes a long time. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to build up there. And I have a client who has been building up there, and we're going on year 4 and they're hoping to be in by Christmas. So it just takes a long time. It just takes a long time. Kohala, but they did go back and forth a lot with the permits. So no, I just think that it's not easy to build, and so people have to have some patience and they have to be willing to go through all those hoops.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a little
Nope.
tip for people too who want to like live in
Right.
that area. So
Which is why if there's 7 houses that are already built, a lot of people are like, I'm not going to deal with buying a lot and trying to build my own. I'm just going to buy a house that's already there.
right. And I think that's, and especially in Hawaii's building climate, that's a smart idea.
Right.
Okay, so if just kind of give me like a little bit of like, what do you think? You think that things are going to start kicking and moving after the election? Do you think that what do you think? Anything?
Well, you know, I don't think that the election is going to have that much to do with, like, the Fed rates are set by the
Yeah, yeah. And
Federal
the rates have
Reserve.
gone
So
down, and they're looking at the rates obviously going down even lower
right,
in
right.
2025.
Now, I think that I don't want to get political, but I think there's 2 different ways that the different candidates are going to approach affordable housing. According from what I've read, wants to do a 25% down payment and 3 million new homes. That's nationwide. I don't know how many of those will show up in Hawaii. We do have some affordable housing projects that are being considered in Waikoloa Village right now, so that's
Mhm.
nice. Whereas Trump, I think, is wanting to free up some federal land for housing development. I think either one of those plans will have some pretty serious logistical challenges. So I don't know how that's going to affect the market. I mean, it's just hard to say. You know, um, there's just a high. There's also, I think, tax policies, the different tax policies. If there's going to be changes to property taxes or capital gains taxes, I feel like that could have an effect on what's going to happen in the market, especially with second homes, because we have a lot of people up in the Kohala Coast area that these homes are their second homes.
Mhm.
And they, especially down in the resorts, they're short-term vacation rental
Right.
properties. So I think it's hard to tell at this point. I don't think that there's ever going to be a time though when the properties up here are not going to be in big demand, you know.
It's Hawaii. So,
Yeah. This
okay.
is really pretty up here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So thank you, Jana, and we'll go back to the regularly scheduled program here. Hold on.
Okay.